In today's video, I'm going to be discussing adult checks and following up to that important piece of legislation currently sitting in the Senate, as well as answering some questions from some of you here in the community that I've seen showing up down below in the comment section on previous videos. That's the focus of this video. Let's get into it and talk through the details. Alright, now the piece of legislation that I'm referring to is the $80 billion package that was introduced about 2 months ago, and it passed through the House of Representatives about 1 month ago. Then it moved on to the Senate, and here it sits. Yes, it is still sitting in the Senate. Are they going to be passing it soon? Well, that's a good question. I'm not really sure, but I do believe it will be passing. What are they waiting for? Again, good question. I'm not really sure, okay? This is just me being completely honest and transparent. I have no idea what they're waiting for, except for they are working on a couple other pieces of legislation right now, but why they haven't done it in the last month? Again, good question. It would not take that much time to bring this to the floor, vote on it. We already know it has a very high likelihood of passing, considering how aggressively it passed through the House of Representatives. The votes came in over there, by the way, of 357 in favor of and 70 against, okay? So that passed very, very well in the House of Representatives, and there it sits in the Senate as well. Now, why am I so confident about this piece of legislation, and why do I really do believe it's actually going to pass through the Senate and then again move on to the president's desk for that final signature? Because it's a bipartisan bill. They came together, both sides, the parties worked together. I know, right? That's crazy enough to say alone in its own sentence, but yes, they came together across the aisle here. They worked on this piece of legislation. They introduced it in the House. It passed very well, and then they pushed it down to the Senate, okay? However, I've been seeing a bunch of questions from those of you here in the community on previous videos reaching out asking, what's going on here? What's going on with that piece of legislation? Did they pass it yet? Have you heard anything about adult checks? Are we going to be getting adult checks? What's going on with this? Again, great questions. That's what I want to update you here on in this video, as well as talk through the details of that legislation as well, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about, but really fast before we get into it, if you have not done so yet, make sure to do yourself a huge favor. Subscribe down below. There's a big subscribe button down there. I'm here for you every single day, no matter what. I have been for several years now. Go back and check my track record here on the channel. You'll see thousands and thousands of videos. You can't do that in one day, I promise you. I haven't even tried, but I do make multiple videos a day, and yeah, you can't do thousands a day. I can just tell you that much. It's impossible, okay? But anyway, I'm here for you in any way that I possibly can be, advocating on your behalf, doing all the research so you don't need to, breaking it down in these videos and updating you in any way that I possibly can every single day. Things are happening rapidly right now, and like I said before, 2024 is a very busy year, and it's all about you, low income and fixed income beneficiaries. Again, thanks for joining me. Please subscribe down below if you haven't done so, and let's get into it and talk about this. All right, so now stick with me for a second as I talk through the details of this legislation. It's all going to come full circle here in just a second, okay? This is the $80 billion package that is out there right now that has multiple different provisions within it, mostly being, okay, just stick with me on this. I'm going to come back to this in a second, okay? The big one within there is the expansion of the child tax credit payments, okay? Now again, I know that this does not pertain to a lot of people here in this community, okay? A lot of people who are maybe, you know, receiving Social Security retirement or something like this, who maybe don't have kids, or maybe you do, who are, you know, over the age of 17, and maybe they're 25 or 30, 35, 40, whatever it happens to be, doesn't really matter. But if you're not eligible for this, okay, let me talk through the other details about it, which is the adult checks, okay? That is what everybody here in the community wants to know. What about adult checks? Now, as far as those of you that may be eligible for the advanced child tax credit payment, or the expanded, I should say, the expanded child tax credit payment as a result of this legislation, hang tight. They're not doing anything with it right now, okay? The update is that they're still sitting on it in the Senate. They will vote on it here at some point. I've seen some headlines coming out saying, yeah, within the next few days or the next couple weeks. Okay, well, they wanted to get this done back in the end of January. I'm sorry, the end of January was a long time ago, okay? That was a long time ago. So you can see how delayed they are. This happens all the time. We see this, they come out and say, we got this great idea. We're going to do this before the, this exact date. They miss their deadlines like literally every single time, okay? So anytime that they tell us a deadline, just don't even put much weight into it, okay? That's what I can say about it anyway, because we've seen this happen time and time again. They miss all the deadlines, okay? But anyway, that's a whole nother story. So my point is, for those of you that may be eligible for the expanded child tax credit payments, just hang tight on this. I do believe they will pass it. Just when? Good question. I'm not really sure yet when, okay? However, you probably heard me talk about this before. Remember a couple years ago, back in 2021, with the what is it called? The American Rescue Plan, okay? Sorry, I forgot the name of it for a second. Okay, sorry. The American Rescue Plan, the $1.9 trillion package that passed in March of 2021. That one also contained the advanced child tax credit payments, right? Well, once that passed through and the president signed it into law, we saw a bunch of people coming out. I saw it in the headlines all the time. All kinds of people coming out suggesting, well, what about adults? What about older adults? What about seniors? What about people with disabilities? What about fixed income beneficiaries who also need some kind of a check? Can we do some type of advanced payment for adults as well, right? There was talk about that. Now, obviously, it did not happen, right? There was a stimulus check within that piece of legislation, the $1,400, but then again, what about the extra monthly payments for adults as well, okay? So that never happened. However, there was a lot of talk about it, and a lot of people were saying, hey, this isn't really fair. We're sending out advance payments to families with kids. What about adults who don't have kids, or maybe do, but yet they're older, above the age threshold? Again, good questions, right? So if you've been hearing me talk about this, I've mentioned it a couple times before in other videos and in a live stream or two that we've had talking about this over the last, call it, month and a half or so, nearly 2 months that this has been out there. I've talked about this and said I would not be shocked one bit once this passes, as in passes through the Senate and signed into law by the president. I would not be shocked one bit to see a bunch of people coming out, advocacy groups and different people, legislation, lawmakers, people like this come out and suggesting, what about adults now? We should probably do something for lower income adults, maybe, people with disabilities, seniors, fixed income beneficiaries. Maybe we should also do some type of advanced payment or expanded payment for adults as well, okay? Haven't really heard a whole lot about this quite yet, but it also hasn't passed yet either, okay? So even though the legislation has passed through the House, it's still sitting in the Senate. So technically, it's worthless at this point, right? The legislation, unless it passes through the Senate and is signed by the president into law, the legislation literally is completely worthless. It's doing nothing. It does nothing until it turns into law, right? So you know that, okay? However, that is the time that it turns into something way more than what it is right now. Right now, it's just literally a pile of papers just sitting there doing nothing. That's it, right? So again, at this point, it's literally just kindling for a fire, okay? But once they pass it through and then moves it on to the president and he signs it, well, now we've got active legislation that expands the child tax credit payment. Now we can open up the floodgates and say, okay, you did this for more families, you did this for all the kids, you did this for a bunch of people, but you left out adults who are lower income, you left out seniors, you left out people with disabilities, you left out the fixed income. What about that now, okay? And that's what I've been saying for a while now, for the last, month and a half, 2 months or so, since we originally heard about this. I've been saying, just hang tight on this. Once this passes, we will likely see a bunch of people coming out suggesting, okay, now let's do something for the adults, right? And again, we're kind of waiting on that as of now, okay? So that is where we're at as of right now. We're waiting on the Senate, okay? When are they going to do it? I wish I had a better answer for you. We don't have any specific dates in mind that they're going to vote on this thing, but I've been saying it for a while, and I'm going to say it again right now really quickly, which is when they bring it to the Senate and vote on it, I really, really, really do believe they will pass this through, okay? I've been saying that for a while now, and the reason being is it's a bipartisan bill. For once, they've worked together on something. It's like very rare that they work on anything together anymore. But here they are. They've come together on it, and they're doing it. So believe it or not, they actually worked on this together. So that is where we currently stand as of right now. I have not forgotten about this. I have not forgotten about your comments down below. I have seen your comments down below. I wanted to give you this quick update on this, and of course, as I get more details on this, or as they pass this through, and of course, as we see the headlines coming out suggesting adult checks or advance payments, something like this, of course, I'll bring that to your attention right away. So for those of you that have been asking, I have this information for you. Until we get further action out of the Senate, this is about all we have as of now, okay? So that's what I have for you. Otherwise, I hope this helps you, but again, I will continue to watch this. As soon as we get additional details on this, I'll bring it to your attention immediately, as I always do in all these videos. So hope this helps you. As always, please subscribe down below. Totally free to do so. Share the video with your friends on my social media. Go back and check out any of the other thousands of videos here on the channel, including those down below in the description, the ones that I've hand selected for you down there, as well as the ones you've seen popping up on your screen throughout this video, as well as the ones you're seeing on your screen right now, or go back and check out the ones down below that I've pinned at the top of the comment section as well. Enjoy your day, take care, have a good one, and I'll catch you again later in the next